Uh, Welcome to another episode of the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I am your host, founder, and executive director of Voices for Voices, Justin Allen Hayes. Thank you for joining us, whether you're here in the United States or across the world, over 50 countries, 620 cities. We couldn't do this without your love and support over the years. We're well over 200 episodes on our way to 300 total by the end of 2025. And we are very, very excited to have our guest with us today. I, as you know, love to learn and to find new areas of what people do and how they do it. And so we wanted to bring this guest to you to be able to share some of that. So I'm going to give a little bit of a bio, and then we're just going to jump into uh, conversation here. And the interesting part here on the bio of the first line says that in a word, he's boring, but we don't think so. He has always been a writer. When he was oh wow, yeah, his mom taught him to read when he was 2 to 3. He had an 11th grade reading level going into first grade, which is miraculous. He's always been writing plays and stories in grade school. He's written several Christian plays that he has performed with various small groups over time. He's also written a novel that he has been attempting to see if he can get that published in some way. If anybody's out there can help, please please let us know. He's also written several scripts for what he calls ASMR, but he calls it and likes to refer to it as POV theater, which online voice actors can use if they so choose. Um, his scripts can be found on Reddit. His username, you may have heard and know that, is Edgy Script, which is EDGISCRIPT. And he has had over 300 fills on these scripts. We'll understand a little bit what a fill is. The scripts are all over the board as far as theme and genre, but he does have a general rule, which is one of the reasons why we're having him on our show, is that they all end up well in the end for everyone involved. And he wants them to be hopeful and not dark, even if that script does go dark, go to dark places in between. And so Spirit Man, which is well known for, began in junior high, created a character in the full armor of God that was in the physical world, and it began as more of a campy, spandex wearing superhero that fought over the top villains. And he even had a teenage sidekick named Shine, much like Captain America's Bucky or Batman's Robin. He has met Everett Paul Burris, although he went by Paul, and he didn't realize that was his first name was Everett for years as an artist, and he played with the idea of turning this into an actual comic. Uh, and let's just jump right in. There's just so much content, so much uh, experience that he's had. So we want to introduce our viewers and listeners to Scott. Also goes by EduScript. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on your show. All right, good night. We're leaving. No, I'm kidding. Uh,
Yeah, go
no.
ahead.
I guess uh, I guess I'll start from the beginning. Just let you know with Spirit Man the comic. I like you said, I created it when I was about 14 or 15, and it was just kind of me and my friend Paul. hooked up. I was a writer, he was an artist, and we hooked up. We both were huge comic fans. Always been, for me, I've always been a Spider-Man fan, as well as several others, but Spidey was my guy. And it started kind of as a GI Joe type of thing. He was going to fight this terrorist organization, uh, and it never really went anywhere. We had high hopes and dreams, but we were a couple of teenage kids, and uh, for about a year or two, we played with it. We had fun with it. We bonded over it. But we didn't really have any experience. We didn't know what we were doing. How do you publish? How do you get this out? Now remember too, this is really before the internet.
Mm,
So
mm,
publishing meant uh, going to Marvel or DC or someplace like that, or maybe an indie marketer, or trying to do it on your own. Well, we didn't have funding, we didn't have knowledge, we didn't know what to do. And we realized we were in over our heads, and it was a fun time. So we each went our separate ways. About 20 years later, Paul contacts me. Now, we've been in contact here and there every once in a while during that time, but essentially, I live in the Des Moines, Iowa area. I was in that area at the time. He lives in St. Cloud, Minnesota. He lived there. He's still there, and he calls me up. He's part of this program. Uh, oh, and I don't have it here. Did I include it in the bio?
the portable vision.
Portable Vision. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. That's
you're
it.
welcome.
And I want to give them a shout out too in the St. Cloud area. If anyone wants to look them up, that they do amazing work. But it's part of a mentorship program for artists and things like that. And it's helping, teens in need, troubled youth, things like that, and just sharing the gospel with them through art and teaching these guys, how to become artists themselves. And it's grown since he talked to me. Uh, it's been about 15 years now since he first came back and brought this up. They have grown much, much larger, and they do a lot more with it's not just art now, it's music and other programs. But if
Mm,
anyone happens to be in the central Minnesota, St. Cloud area, please look them up if you're interested in joining, but also if you're interested in helping. I know they'd appreciate it. Um, but he, as a mentor, as an artist, he got to share with the students a little bit about who he was, and he brought up the comic and how he and I had this idea and we were going to do it, but it never got off the ground. And the students asked him, "Well, why can't you do it now?"
mm,
And he realized he had no good answer for why not. So he contacted me and he said, "Are you interested in restarting this?" And now that he had gone through art college, he had actually been to several comic cons with other work and things like that. He actually had experience creating comics and publishing things. And I told him, I said, "Yeah, I'm very interested, but now it's 20 years later. I'm a different person. It's going to be a different story. Are you okay with that?" He was like, "Absolutely, on board. You write it, I'll draw it, and we'll go." And so Spirit Man became less of a comic book, like I said, like you said in the bio, spandex superhero type person. He became more of a soldier.
mm,
So he's the story that we have now is it's Martin. He's a 15-year-old kid who basically doesn't think he can handle anything. Um, and essentially, he's me at 15 years old. Who thought, I want to be used by God. I want to be helpful to people. I want to be out there, but who am I? I can't do anything, and nobody notices me. Nobody cares. I got no skills. And his spirit man, with the armor of God, begins projecting into the real world, and he can't figure out why. And so that's where the comic goes. In the So we take that supernatural element, we start blending it into the physical, so he can so he can have these adventures and it's fun. but but also so he can begin to learn just who God made him to be. And that's one of the messages that we have with this comic is that it doesn't matter where you are and who you are, as long as you say, "Yeah, God, I'm use me," He's got the rest. It doesn't. You don't have to have everything set. You don't have to have everything perfect. Uh, he is perfect. He's got it. You just need to be willing to let him use you. And part of what we were trying to do with it too was show anyone. A lot of people say this is a teen, oriented thing. It's not. We didn't write it for anyone in particular. Anyone, I'm 54 years old. This is a story I want to read. This story I want to, I'm writing it because it's a story for me. Uh, but it's just to me, it was kind of sharing the excitement and the reality of spiritual warfare and how you really do make a difference. It's not just it's not just a quiet, pleasant, calming, meditating thing. You're really making a serious difference. And that's part of what we were trying to get across with that.
Yeah, and it, it the fact that you're kind of going to that next level into the spiritual. There's obviously a lot of battles that we all go through. Should I do this?
Mhm.
Should I not? Oh, I messed up here, and so if I have a chance, should I try this again? And so just giving the audience the ability to think further helps them on a deeper level than just the aesthetic side.
Yeah, yeah. If you tell someone, like the Bible says, we should pray unceasingly. But what does that mean? Does that mean I'm supposed to fold my hands, get on my knees, hide in a room, and for 24 hours a day, never do anything else, and just lock myself away and just be in continual prayer? No, it means that prayer is a conversation. We should continually be in that place. You and I, right now, we're having this conversation, uh, uh, but we can still be in a place where God is invited in, and I should be uh, continually asking God into my life, talking to God about everything. It's not a formal ritual the way a lot of people think it is. It's just, I mean, prayer for me is very often, "Hey God, how's it going? How you doing? You know how awesome you are." I mean, that's prayer. It doesn't have to be, "Oh dear Lord, please give us these 19 things in order." It's not, it has to be worded this way. It's talking just like you and me are right now. You know, uh, so this, when you tell someone about the power of prayer, most people don't get it because they just see the quiet, reflective, boring side of it, quite frankly. And so with the comic, we wanted to show the real power going on. I mean, Ephesians talks about our fight is not against flesh and blood. Our fight is against spiritual forces in high places. Our fight is against wickedness going on in the spiritual realm. And prayer and spiritual warfare makes a real difference, but it can be difficult to see and understand. And that's what we were hoping with the comic. It would make it more real, make people go, "Oh," and now obviously it's comic, it's fictional, but we're hoping it would help people go, "So that's what's happening. That's what's going on." Just kind of give them a better grasp of that kind of thing.
Yeah, and from just taking a step back, how's it make you feel knowing that you are reaching people far and wide? Sure, started out like myself, like, oh,
Yeah.
nobody's going to be interested, and then once people start getting interested, it's like, wow, like the
Mhm.
words and the ink that goes on is reaching somebody in potentially a place where they They do just need that encouragement.
It's amazing. It really is. And I don't want to sound like I did this for me.
Hmm.
I really felt doing this was being obedient to the vision God put on my heart. But I got to be honest. I when we started this, me and Paul, I said, I'm not going to pay attention to results. I just want to be obedient. God's got the results. Whatever happens, happens. If we touch one person, if we touch a million, whatever happens, if God said do it, I just want it. One day I'm going to stand before him. I'm going to stand before the throne and I want him to say, good job. Good job. You obeyed my good and faithful servant. Well done. That's what I was interested in. But I got to admit, yeah, one day Paul sends me. I mean, we were probably 2 or 3 years into this, and we'd gone to a few Comic Cons with this comic, and I've connected with people here and there about about it and things like that, and gotten some responses. But one day he just sends me an email and said, "I thought you should see this," and it's just comment after comment after comment about how much we touch them and how much we reach them. And yeah, it I got to admit, it made me tear up. And it was like, wow, I'm actually reaching somebody. And we've received letters from prison chaplains. They're using it. And we've received, and hospital chaplains, people who come in to the hospital that are suicidal or going through other difficulties. And they said it's really helping them and it's really reaching these people in these situations. And that to to know that it really actually is having real effects on people is overwhelming to me. And that's a testament of who God is, not who I
Hmm.
am, because I mean, in all seriousness, I'm an incompetent boob.
I am too. I'm like,
Yeah. I mean, I and I embrace that. I don't say that to talk about how worthless I am and get this false sense of self-righteousness. Honestly, a lot of people do that. Oh, I'm terrible. What they're really looking is for you to go, no, you're
mm,
not, you're wonderful. I'm not looking for that. I'm trying to be honest and say I can't handle this. Those results, in no way in my history, in my experience, my education, should this be happening. This is truly God. And I want to give you a brief, if it's okay, a
yeah,
brief example.
please.
um, you read in the bio that I had written several plays,
Hmm.
and I performed one time. This is an example of what I'm talking about. Uh, I performed one time called The Executioner, and it was about, and I did it with a youth group, with a church youth group, and we went to a place and performed it. And it's about a guy who he is saved, he knows Jesus, but he's not really living it, and he doesn't really care, and he's not chasing God. So an angel comes and basically gives him a message, says God's going to reveal to you how just what he did for you and why you shouldn't take this for granted. And the guy goes back in time, and it turns out he is the executioner of Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
So he didn't he nailed Jesus down personally. And when it comes back, the very end, he goes, he meets these people, he connects with people. It turns out he's the guy who actually has to. And when he does, he slams his hand on the ground on stage 3 times. On the last one, he stays down, and everything goes dark. And as it comes back up, the angel comes back out, and the character's name was Jack. And he says, "Jack, you're back." And Jack is just bawling, and he says, I nailed him. I nailed him down. And the third time he says it, he screams, I nailed Jesus Christ to the cross. And the angel's last line is, everyone has, Jack. Everyone has. Now we're performing this piece in front of a church. It was the first time I performed it with this group, and I'm the drama director for these kids. And I'm watching through the whole thing. And of course, I'm the director, and I'm seeing, oh, they did that wrong. Oh, he said that wrong. Oh, he should have been turned here. Oh, the blocking was wrong. I'm seeing all the errors. I'm saying, oh, we're going to have to correct this in practice. I played in that one, I played a Roman centurion who's talking to this guy at the very last, right before he nails him down. And so my time is coming on to perform. I'm in the audience. I
Mm-hmm.
get up quietly because I got to go around to the back. I'm going to come in from the back, and there's a cord on the floor, and I didn't see it, and I trip, wham! I hit the
Oh my
ground,
God.
and I'm down on the ground. Didn't hurt myself, but I'm thinking, oh no, everyone's looking at me. And so I
Mm,
stayed down as long as possible till I figured everyone in the audience had turned back and is focusing on the stage. And then I ran out to the back. I come in, I do my part, and then I tell Jack, you've got to be the one to nail him. You do it. And I leave.
mm,
I'm in the back. I'm in a hidden room. We're waiting for the last part to be done, and there was another person back there who had a part earlier. And he goes, "What are we supposed to do when it's all done?" And I realized, oh no, I
oh,
didn't tell anyone. I didn't
oh,
tell anyone what we're going to do when we're finished. So I said, just follow me.
mm,
I hear them. I listen for the last line. We give it a couple beats. They exit the stage. I said, follow me. We walk out on stage, and I realize I haven't prepared anything. The audience might think this is part of it. So I just look at the audience and I kind of go, that's it.
mm,
you know, really anticlimactic,
yeah,
and all I'm thinking is myself is, oh, we screwed up so bad. We're, you
oh,
know, we're, I go and I sit down. The pastor comes up to the front, and there's dead silence for about
mm,
45 seconds. And what's going through my mind is, oh man, they're trying to find something good to say. They're trying to find some way to salvage this. And when she starts talking, her voice is cracking and she's stuttering and stammering. And it suddenly hits me, oh my goodness, she's been overwhelmed.
mhm,
And when she can finally speak, she says, crying, she says, I hope you understand what a blessing you've received this day.
oh,
And then afterwards, people are just crying and coming up and hugging us and thanking us for coming and just, over. And all I could think of is I sat there and I just went, God, thank you for this experience because this is you. All I could see was the errors. All I could see was the blunders. All I could see was we are incapable. We screwed up so bad. I mean, I hit my face.
mm,
I messed up the end. I was like, and we got this result. And people are genuinely touched. And I thanked him because I said, that was just a reminder to me. I'm just the vessel.
yeah,
He's the potter. I'm the clay. Anything good that has come out of my life, he gets credit for. And I just appreciated that experience. And with Spirit Man too, I had that experience because of the fact that I created Spirit Man, right? I'm the creator, I'm the writer, it's mine. No, I appreciated that 20 years later. I had given it up, it was gone, it was never going to happen. When Paul came back to me, I just had this feeling that God, this is yours. To
mm,
me, it was dead and gone, but you wanted it to happen. So you made this happen. So I don't consider myself the creator of Spirit Man anymore. I consider myself God's steward. It's his, he owns it. He's just put me in charge of it for a time.
yeah. No, that's very powerful, and I have similar experiences where I go through a particular experience, and all I'm looking at is are the faults, and well, I can do this, and I should have did
Yeah,
that, and I should have talked to this person, or whatever that may be. And then
it's
when
easy to
you get
do, isn't it?
it's so yeah, that's the easy part. Is just to be, it's where a lot of us are, caught corporate America and everything of, you have your goals and did you meet them and didn't you? And so much time is focused on the negative of, oh, well, you're doing great, but there's these other things over here that you could do much better. And I think just in
Mhm.
general, as a society, as human beings, we spend more time just reflecting on the positives that we would have a better, let's say better perspective on ourselves. That's like, okay, well, yeah, I may have screwed this up or this might not have worked. Um, but look at all these other things that I've done, and that's part of what it landed me kind of in the psych ward in 2017 at rock bottom mental health wise, and it was all
Yeah.
about the things I didn't do, that didn't I could have done
Hmm.
better, that the relationships, how I treated people, and instead of going, oh my gosh, like I'm well, I'm not the nobody's perfect. I mean, God's perfect.
Yeah.
Uh, so I shouldn't be expecting that every single thing that I do, every single step of the way,
Right.
it's going to be like that. And I think that's helpful, and that is so powerful. That experience that you mentioned, where you got up and then you slipped and fell, and then after all that, it it, it was probably one of the best feelings you had once you
Yeah.
kind of thought about it, and as she was speaking to the
Because it's a
audience.
very freeing feeling to know God's got it. He's in charge. He only is asking you to obey. He's not asking you to be perfect. He says, I'm perfect. Just let me work through you.
Yeah. Uh, so you do also voiceover work, is that right?
I don't do voiceover work myself. What I do is I started to write scripts online for ASMR artists on YouTube
Okay.
primarily. I mean, they can be other platforms, but it's primarily YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
There's a long story with that too, and it's an amazing tale too because this is not directly Christian in nature. They're just cute stories. They're just fun
Mm-hmm.
stories that I wrote. They do have now. There's a long
Mm-hmm.
explanation of how I got to point Q, but I don't want to take you through A through what all the
Mm-hmm.
way through. That'd be too boring for one thing. But I was writing these scripts for fun. And like I said, you said I always want to keep them positive and hopeful. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
scripts that other people write just end dark and depressing, and very much. Some of them are, very horror oriented, which it's like, okay, you want to write that, that's cool, but I'm not going to go that route.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in mine has, they tend to be a little romantic. The guy gets the girl in the end. He's not just left like, nope, everything stinks, and you shouldn't have put all this effort in, because your life is a tragedy. I didn't want to go down that road. So I started writing these scripts, and I started building a little bit of a following, and different voice actors online were picking up my scripts.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, I've had about 300 fills now, which means a voice actor has taken my script and actually performed it on YouTube or
Okay.
somewhere else. So that's what a fill is. They
Thank you.
filled my script.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, what in the middle of all this, this is also where the novel came from. So I wrote one script for voice actors. When I got done with it, it kept haunting me. It was like I in this short 30-minute script, I felt like I had created a much bigger world. And so it kept driving me. I was just obsessed by this. I would come home from work and I was like, I had to focus on the script, and I wrote this novel. And and I kind of kept going back to God, like, why? Why do I feel so driven to do all of this? And it again, it was one of those things where I'm just trying to be obedient, and I don't, in my logic, my perception, I don't know why I'm here. This didn't seem to be something that made a lot of sense, but I've made connections in this world, and I've touched certain people that I'm starting to see. I think God in his and sometimes we never know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, honestly, we never know. God says, I want you to go here. I want you to do this thing. We do it. We walk away. We never see the fruit. We never see the result. We just have to go on faith that says, God, you put me there. I don't know why, but I was obedient. But I believe God has allowed me to start seeing some of the fruit. And one of them in particular, I just want to, if it's okay to give a shout out.
Yes.
Um, one voice actor in particular. Uh, I I'm debating whether I should say her name because I haven't got her permission.
Yeah.
Uh, but no, I'm going to go ahead. I think she'd be okay with it.
Mm,
She goes by the name Dragon's Tower. She's online as Dragon's Tower, and she puts out very wholesome pieces. But she does the what I call POV theater, where that all these people do, where it's like the listener is an active participant. So it's point of view. It's like if I'm talking to you, hey, how are you going? How are you doing today? And then there's silence in the script because the listener is supposed to be responding,
oh.
you know. And then the speaker will say, "That's good to hear. Wow, I'm glad." And it'll keep going that way. So there's not it's a dialogue, but one of the parts is silent because the listener is supposed to be that part.
Mm,
So you're talking to the person who's actually listening to the presentation. And someone took one of my scripts and did it, and she was amazing. And this was like her first or second script she had done, period. And I was like, wow, this is incredibly professional. This is amazingly well done. So I started a communication with her. Thank you for doing my script. Initially it was just very much, you're amazing. No, you're amazing, patting each other
mm,
on the back, doing all that kind of thing. But as it went on, she did a few of mine and we started to connect personally. And I started to find out more and more about her. And I won't go into details
mhm,
uh, uh, because, like I said, I haven't got her permission to share everything. But I found out she was going through some really, really hard times in her life.
yeah.
And a relationship, someone left her, someone was abusive in their relationship, a family relationship that was incredibly destructive, uh, and and on and then on top of this, a medical situation that was just
Mm,
devastating. And it was like one thing after another kept piling on. But with me, she was always smiling and upbeat and cheerful. And I'm like, this person is amazing. And I had been praying for her. I had been communicating with her as best I could. Um, my, Christianity, my beliefs started to come into this conversation. Uh, I leave it out at the beginning, not because I'm embarrassed about it, but I truly believe nobody cares about what you think until nobody cares about what you know until they know that you care.
mhm,
And I wanted to genuinely love these people, and this person in particular, my heart just went out to her. And one day I just sent her a text and I said, look, um, I've adopted you. I
mm,
said, just I want you to know, you're my daughter now. And she didn't have any parents at that time; they had died.
mm,
And I just said, well, now you're my daughter, and I don't care. And I wanted to be genuine, but I was playfully expressing it, and said, and I don't care what you say. You have no say in the matter. I'm taking you. It's kind of, I jokingly I was saying like I'm kidnapping you.
mm.
You're my long distance. Um, Now, are you familiar what a yandere is?
No, I'm not. Mm-mm.
Okay, it's a thing going on. It's an old trope, but right now it's become fairly big in anime and in
Okay.
Japan. Yandere is Japanese for ill love. So it's those stories about someone who is so psychotically obsessively in love with you that they'll do things like kidnap you and lock
Mm,
you in their basement so no one else can have you and that kind of thing. So some of my stories have gone along this yandere theme. But like I said, mine are uplifting and wholesome. So it's either like the person has like a tragic past or something that they've gone to this length, and then you find out about it, and then the listener like actually steps in and helps them through it, or something like that.
yeah.
So I had played around with these yandere themes, and so I said, "You're my yandere long distance daughter. You have no say in the matter. I'm just taking you." And I just wanted her to know I'm going to be there for you. You've
Mm,
got a lot of crap going on in your life, and you're on my heart, and I'm going to love you. And my biggest worry when I sent that out was she was going to respond with, "This is creepy. I'd rather you never contacted me again," that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But she came back calling me dad,
Mm.
and I got to tell you, I started crying when she did that. I mean, and to this day, now we've known each other for about since that happened. We've she's been my daughter for about 7 months now. Every
Mm-hmm.
morning, I send her a Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning, my my wonderful, amazing daughter. I've been sending her Bible studies. She has received a new man in her life that is a wonderful man of God and has been helping her too. And I'm just rejoicing over everything that's been happening in her life and the fact that I can be there for it. And in the middle of all this, I sat back and went, God, is that why I'm here?
Mm.
Is that